Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to F1 Manager. This is episode 7, upgrade to the boardroom, and it's the final one for that. And that's going to put us, I think, besides the hospitality, hospitality is at level 3. Besides that, we're at level 5 on 4 out of the 5 that we want to see up to level 5 right away. Weather Center will happen later. And then that means we're going to be able to start turning our attention to the car development facilities at least a little bit. This season we're not going to do much with it. Next season is where we're going to really start making that push so that we can develop the car a lot faster. But there's one clear one that I think will have a pretty big impact, because if we're going all in on something, we want to be able to have good strong upgrades, and we want to be able to roll from one to the next, and not just have one every once in a rare while. I think maybe impact things actually, it's arguable what direction to go, but I know we need more engineers. We absolutely need more engineers. 8 million is a big cost, and we only have 17 million right now, but I want to maintain about a balance of about 10 million. This will take care of that by keeping, but this will add 4 more engineers. So we'll go ahead and take this one. It's going to take 2 months to complete.
Formula One has cranked up the heat over Barcelona. The first Grand Prix held here was won by Nigel Mansell after a wheel-to-wheel battle with Ayrton Senna. But who will follow in his footsteps this weekend? Long straights and medium speed turns dominate here, but there's something else to watch out for at Barcelona. The air currents are strong and unpredictable, and they'll be giving aerodynamic components a real run for their money this weekend. At this early stage in the season, there are still plenty of opportunities for things to change. In this sport, there simply are no guarantees. Let's get this underway. Drivers will need to perform with remarkable consistency if they're to secure a strong position on tomorrow's grid. It's not just about one moment of brilliance. No, they'll need to prove over the course of qualifying that they have what it takes to occupy those coveted places. You're going to want to join us for this, folks, so fasten your seatbelts.
In FP3 right now, and well before the end of the session, we have locked Albon into that 95% plus range to get the maximum bonus. We're at 96%, so we are going unchanged from here on out. Now just trying to get the acclimatization into that happy zone, and it's nearly there. I've noticed one thing about both of these drivers, and I'm curious to look at their attribute ratings in the near future to see what determines which, because I see 2 variances. One, Albon is always pulling ahead when it comes to track acclimatization. 2, Latifi is always a little bit faster
when
on
you have it
feedback.
back on balance.
So as we're just getting this one now, so we're going to go ahead and call him in so we get our feedback. It's great. It's not optimal, but it's great. What I've noticed, right, is that those consistencies with each driver, looking at their attributes, I bet you I can find what the reason is. What's the key attribute for both of those aspects of how they perform the way they perform. I'd still rather get a young driver in who's got some potential compared to a Latifi, even if that means we're not going to get feedback as fast, we're not going to get the setup bonuses as fast, because ultimately that performance bonus is just a bonus to their attributes. And if their attributes aren't good to begin with, I can get Latifi to 100% every race, and it's not going to make much difference. He's still going to be slow, and he's still going to run wide 3 times a session. Got Latifi to 94%, so close to getting the max bonus, but still, with both drivers, we are right there, right on the verge. And as we've already kind of realized through the first 5 races, doesn't matter what we do with Latifi, he's going to be at the back and fighting Stroll, if anyone, more likely fighting no one the majority of the races. So really we are a 1-car team until we get to that phase where we do replace Latifi, which not too long from now we're going to make a move on that. By the way, the new driver is going to be not necessarily a whole lot better, but race pace is a big problem for Latifi. He's high in some other areas. That overall rating of 73 doesn't mean a lot. If we sign somebody with a lower rating, they might actually still be faster than Latifi if they have better race pace and just need to work on other skills. Both cars went out on track first and got a nice clean lap in, nobody in their way. Half a second is the gap between Albon and Latifi, and that's the thing. No matter what we do setup wise, that's pretty standard. We're getting half a lap per track, and pace of the car is what it is. The only ones we seem to ever be battling with are the Aston Martins. Vettel, who also got a clean track, comes in slightly behind Albon. So Albon, maybe we are going to be the faster one this race, possibly. We've been beating them on race pace. We haven't been able to beat them in qualifying. This would be the first time if Albon could stay ahead of Vettel. Penalties are absolutely a thing this season with new parts, in particular engine. Well, we have for the first time new engine components. In fact, we have an entirely fresh engine in the car for this race weekend. We've completed 5 races so far. You are allocated 3 for the year. So at that rate, that would cover 15 races. So races 16 to 20, we would be on a new engine. That would come with a penalty. And then races 21 to 23 at the end of the season, or say 20 to 23 at the end of the season, that would come with a penalty. So it looks like we have the potential of facing a penalty twice this season for new engines. That's not bad. But you never know what could happen along the way. But making it through 5 races is a good mark. Latifi is last place through this first lap. You still have Schumacher and Tsunoda yet to complete their initial lap. But Albon, all the way up in 14th right now, putting up a pretty competitive time ahead of Vettel, Gasly, and Stroll. Only one car that's significantly out of sequence right now, that's Hamilton. I believe he was out on used tires for his first go, or so it would appear, because he did have some open track. He a bit off the pace in just 15th right now, but otherwise, everybody else seems to be right about their right place. Albon putting in an excellent first lap. It's not going to hold. It's not a time that's going to hold, though. So we are going to need to do something a little bit more in that final lap. And yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I'm going to have Latifi get out here a little bit sooner. Let's go ahead and get Latifi out there now. Get him in the front end. But we're going to try to hang on till the last possible moment for Albon. See if we can't get him at the back end of the train. Get the most grip possible. And see if he can't better that time. Even if he doesn't get out of Q1, I'd be thrilled with 16th. Alright, definitely right towards the back end of the grid now. We'll get him sent out here before it's too late. 2 minutes to go in the lap. I believe he is the last car heading out, or so it would appear. No, still an Alfa Romeo behind him. Second Alfa Romeo, and 2 Haas cars. Very much towards the back end though. Good news is the Aston Martins are very much near the front, and the AlphaTauri is in the middle, and that's who we are going head-to-head with. So he will have a little bit of a grip advantage over them. And we ride with Latifi as he gets his final flying lap started here in Q1. We will jump on board with Albon as soon as he goes to start his lap, but Latifi very much towards the front end of the field. We got a Ferrari, 2 Aston Martins, and a McLaren are the first 4. Latifi's the 5th car out on track, but he's got plenty of clean air, absolutely nothing to get in his way, and he's had a good start to his lap. Green in Sector 1. Albon ready to begin his lap. He is on the front straight now. Lap underway. Turn 1. Come through turn 2. Looks fairly good so far. A little weak coming out of turn 2 in my opinion, but we'll see how his time fares as he reaches the end of the first sector. I would think Latifi should be at the end of Sector 2 by now. We can maybe get an idea of how these guys are doing. Yes, he is at the end of Sector 2. We'll keep an eye on Albon. Both are green, but behind us, everybody is green with the exception of Vettel, who went yellow in Sector 2. Time up on the session, so this is it. Vettel does move ahead of Albon for now, though only green in Sector 1. So we're talking about a very minimal improvement to time. But Albon also yellow in Sector 2, not improving his time. Latifi is going nowhere. Latifi is still in 20th. Has not improved his time. Stroll will start behind Albon no matter what he does here at the end of this lap, as he's got just 2 more corners to go through. The final chicane here. Oh, sorry. I guess you still have one last turn as you come out, even though it's flat out. And here we go towards the finish line from P18. Beats Vettel. I'll take it. It wasn't the P16 that I was hoping for, but we are actually going to start on merit, on good laps from everyone, ahead of both Aston Martins, something we have not been able to do this season. We had one crazy, out of order, not clean lap Q1 session before that mixed things up a little bit, and we got, 16th and 18th in that one? But that was because of things did not go right for others. Here, everything was smooth. Nobody got in anybody's way. This was everyone's best pace. Now, for the first time on that merit alone, Albon able to beat both Aston Martins. Gap was 3/100ths of a second in the end over Vettel. Latifi was 0.2, more than 0.2. I mean, he was about 1/4 of a second behind Stroll. Cannot really compete. Stroll, not far from Vettel. They are far more competitive with each other. We had half a second, and we consistently have half a second between Albon and Latifi. That's how far off the pace is between those guys. Half a second per lap. 50-lap race, that's 25 seconds. Lap after lap after lap after lap. That adds up, and that leads to a sizable gap, and usually it ends up being more than that. As for this, that, or the other thing, especially more blue flags, more running wide, those extra mistakes, it ends up being quite a bit more. There's generally been closer to a minute separating these two. Of course, most tracks there's also more than 50 laps. Now, in terms of the gap the other direction, Sergio Perez in the Red Bull barely escaped Q1. 3/100ths of a second. He made a huge mistake. Did not get a clean lap, though everything was clean. There was nothing standing in the way there. Hamilton does get his good clean lap in. Everybody's right about where they belong, except for Perez. But he does get out of Q1, so he'll get another chance to right that wrong and get into his standard position. Tsunoda, half a second ahead. That's hard to make up on race pace. That's hard to do, like Latifi. So I think we are, as ever, going to be racing head-to-head with the Aston Martins.
Here we are, folks. We're back for another day of scintillating F1 action. It's race day.
Williams had a good performance in qualifying. Now they'll be eager to demonstrate that they can have an even better race. Haas proved quite resourceful during qualifying. That puts them in a very good position to make the most of this race start. We've been having sunny weather here today, but there are some clouds looming that might complicate things for teams further down the line.
And there are going to be some tough calls to make in Catalunya today. So let's see who makes the best ones for the Spanish Grand Prix. I don't want to tempt fate, but there are quite a few clouds overhead as we look at the lineup on the grid. Here we have Alexander Albon. They'll be starting the race from the bottom half of the grid, so there's a fair bit of ground to make up. Next up for the team, it's Latifi. They're in the back half of the pack, so they'll need to work hard if they want a podium finish. The teams are ready to go. This is it. It's the Spanish Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
I love how Albon was in the car, ready to go, and then out of the car. Not fully equipped, but we'll let that one go. Race underway here in Catalunya, and Albon's well set for this race, and we'll see how well we can perform. He's already had a good start ahead of both Aston Martins. I am going for a slightly different strategy between the two as Albon gets around Tsunoda on the outside. Can he hold it? Let's go ahead and see his perspective. He's higher up the grid anyway. That would be nice if we could get the the AlphaTauri between us and the Aston Martins, but he's able to pull back ahead there after we rode side by side there for a few turns, and we tried to get to the inside, but Sonoda blocks. He's going to go to the inside of the Haas. Can we follow through? 3 wide there for a moment. That's getting scary.
And a new position, just gained by Williams.
And Latifi has gotten around Vettel. Vettel at the back. So Stroll overtook Vettel. Vettel is down to P20. And we've got the AlphaTauri once again now to the inside here. And we are momentarily ahead. And can we finish the move? That was that hairpin after the long straight. But we are still battling this one out. We're going to have the inside of the chicane here in just a second. And we do, but then the outside as we set up our run towards the final. This is back and forth, not good for our position. Oh, and Albon tucks in, losing pace right as he's about to go. He let off. Not good, because now Latifi is going to get on past. Will Albon at least hang on to the position? Yeah, that was not good. Was not good. Albon continues to go backwards after his less than ideal time to decide to back out. And now he's got to hold off Stroll. Meanwhile, with Latifi, I think we want to back off too aggressive before the tires get too hot.
Okay, back off. Copy.
And Albon does re-secure his position here on the medium compound. And Albon, let's go ahead and go standard. You're behind your teammate anyway.
You can afford to drop back.
But that teammate's going to hold us up. We want Latifi, though, on those softs to continue to push on and help pull Albon around. No DRS yet, too early in the race. Lap 3 is when that's going to be initiated. And we've had another clean start to a race, except for right in front of us. Woo! Safety car. Full safety car? Okay, it was Sonoda. Sonoda is out of the race, and that is my first proper safety car that we have had. We've had a virtual safety car once in the first 5 races. Now here in race number 6, we do get an early safety car, and it is Sonoda out of the race, who we were moments ago battling with before Albon then made that mistake and tucked in behind. And the race resumes here on lap number 5 with Latifi in that rare position ahead of Albon after Albon makes a mistake. Latifi has a look to the inside of the Haas, but he's multiple car lengths back. Not sure why he would even bother there. But we instantly open a bit of a gap over Stroll. Stroll, 9/10 of a second behind Albon already. The biggest gap between any 2 cars out on track right now. Early after the safety car period, the field's starting to stretch out a little bit. It's lap 7. And the big thing is that Stroll is falling back and quickly and holding up Vettel while he's at it. So Stroll now 2.5 seconds behind. Latifi, until just now, had been staying within DRS range as it's only been open for a lap or 2 here. But Albon has caught up and looks like he might be moving past Latifi here momentarily. He has caught up to him now. And I think they're kind of both in a similar state, but let's go ahead and put Latifi or Albon on the overtake and give him that chance to maybe attack and push on without actually giving orders. On the outside, he might be on the mediums, but one thing about this track is that the difference between the soft and the medium is negligible in terms of pace, especially when you consider as the laps go on. Let's go and have Latifi back off a little bit. That might be enough to allow Albon to complete the move. Yes, watching from Latifi's position, he is now behind. That's good. Okay, so Albon now going on ahead. So the softs and the mediums are very, very similar on race pace. It's more about longevity of the tire than anything else.
Okay, we're happy to push,
But just in case, we're still trying to go more aggressive with Latifi and the soft, medium, soft. But now that he's behind, let's go ahead and go with the don't fight your teammate. Gap behind now 3.5 seconds. Unfortunately, by time Albon has overtaken Latifi, any hope of staying in contact with the cars ahead has also ended, and I think with Latifi or Albon, we're probably not going to want to attack, but we can use a little more tire life here, right? This will give Latifi on the softs, hopefully, the ability to at least keep up with Albon for a while and potentially get us a healthy enough gap over the two Aston Martins, especially with them out of order, that we might give ourselves a pretty healthy day at the end of this thing, with a significant gap ahead of them. We've got a bit of a train ahead of us, led by Ocon and Magnussen, and then Guan Yu Zhou, Ricardo, Schumacher are all there, and we have gone from that 2.5 second gap down to between 1.5 to 2 seconds. It's hovering at the moment, so we are actually closing in on those guys as Albon continues to push. So we might find ourselves back in on that DRS train, giving us a pretty good opportunity to not only, extend the gap behind us, which is out to 3.5. It's not much, but we are also harvesting right now with Albon, and I'm wondering if maybe I should just go neutral, because there's a chance here that we can get in touch with those guys. I think leaving it on harvest there for a little bit cost us a little bit of race pace, and actually let those Aston Martins back in. So back to neutral setting there on Albon. Should increase his pace a little bit over the next couple laps. Race situation here on lap 17. Verstappen leads by 1/10 of a second over Leclerc. Sainz has made it around Perez, though they just, as we look here, have swapped back their positions. And again, so those two racing on up ahead. Just behind is Alonso and Hamilton, both caught in that train with those two. Then Russell some ways back with Gasly swapping places, and Bottas and Norris all together in one train. And then Ocon 5.5 seconds back behind there. And then Ricardo now leading that other train we were following. So it's Ricardo, Magnussen, Zhou, Schumacher, all neck and neck. Those five guys within a couple seconds of each other. We are now 7 seconds behind that, with Latifi hanging on to Albon today, unlike previous days where he's always fallen back. But having the faster compound and getting that DRS benefit is keeping Latifi close to his teammate. Really, really changing the circumstances of the race. Also, with orders not to fight and just stay behind him, it's absolutely helping him out. About to enter the pit window, but we are still really good on tire wear at 57% right now. I think at this point we could absolutely extend that by a lap or two. And now's probably the time to throw in a little more harvest. I've been trying to slowly fill it back up, but every time I do start to harvest with Latifi, he falls back. And he almost gets out of DRS range, so I have to turn it back off. He gets within the DRS range, stays within, he closes back up on Latifi. And so I can't just harvest with him. He's too slow. But we can harvest for a little bit. Get it back up, and then back onto neutral. I do think we're going to go towards the tail end of the pit window, just based on how the tire wear has been looking and everything else. Also, fuel load, very good for Latifi, as he backed off a lot sooner than Albon, who was trying to make his way up before he had that close call with Tsunoda that caused him to lose a couple of places and then, go to the back. Albon was definitely on that fuel consumption part a bit longer. Also, following behind is saving a bit of fuel here for Latifi. Stroll also out of DRS range of Vettel. Vettel has gotten by, so that's going to hurt Stroll's chances of beating Latifi, really, as those two are the only ones that seem to be racing each other much. Vettel, having finally gotten by, instantly pulls away, so no DRS benefit for the one behind the other for them, such as what we have here with Latifi getting that extra toe. But Vettel falling further back now, so he put a lot in, it looks like, to get around his teammate, and now is having to back off to cool things down a little bit. Albin, we've been pushing with the tire wear a little bit, but we have not had issues with overheating, so we're doing okay. It's burning through him a little faster as Latifi makes a big mistake there, goes off into the gravel. He is going to save it and get going again, but there is Latifi being Latifi. 3 times a race. 3 times a race he does that. And that means we're going to change tactics now, and we are going to go more aggressive. Did he just make... He did. Latifi just locked up again. Twice in a lap.
See the Williams here. Just a bit too heavy on the brakes, and they've locked up.
Waits to rejoin until the track's clear.
The team are really disappointed with that.
Yes.
Let's hope it doesn't set them back too badly.
It's time. It's time for a new driver. Driver ran wide. Really? Did he just do it a 3rd time already? Okay, first round of pit stops are now underway. 4 cars into the pits. And these tires are fine for Latifi, so we're not even going to bother to pit yet. We ride on board with Albin as he's going to come through. There is pit road to our right-hand side. We go past Guan Yu Zhou. Stroll heads into the pits as well. I think Latifi did run wide again. He did. 3rd time. Gasly cuts us off on the exit of pit road there. Just 1 lap later now, I guess, for Latifi, though, is all. Is he already passed? Yes. And he is on the optimal lap? Yes. So let's go ahead and make that call. Time to pit. And Latifi heads into the pits. He went 1 lap later. By the way, the yellows and the reds, very similar on the strategy. So Albin's pit window is opening. One stopper just really not quite working here, so you don't want the tires to drop off too much. 2.7 for the stop for Latifi as Leclerc heads into the pits. So we are already that close to getting lapped here as Stroll goes on by as he has already pit, and after the triple set of mistakes from Latifi over just a couple of laps, that's it. He finds himself on that back foot. You know what? Let's go ahead and just go aggressive. Let's go aggressive. We've kind of seen where that is, how that slots in. But Albin, as he pushes around, do I want him to pit this lap or do I want to wait? I think I want to wait 1 more. What's going on with the arrow? We have minor damage to the underfloor. That's not good. So we've picked up some debris of some kind, and Albin has some minor damage to the underfloor that could affect his pace. Okay, we are now 1 lap past that optimum time. And that's fine. 1 extra lap is all we need to do. We are already pushing. Despite the big gap that Latifi had behind Stroll, he's already nearly caught up to him, just a couple seconds back. So he will get an opportunity to catch and pass Stroll. Albin, meanwhile, is looking to pit from P12. Vettel has not pit yet. He is currently 7.7 seconds behind. .27 flat, that's one of the best pit stops we've had so far, so that was really good, especially when Albin's the key guy to our team tactics. Apparently we've got the fuel into a really good place now when it comes to Albin, and Stroll is 12.5 seconds behind, so we are now well clear of Stroll, and Latifi is closing that to within a second. He should be getting DRS here momentarily. Let's go ahead and focus on him a little bit, and we want to deploy here and get within that 1 second.
Copy.
Have we done so yet? No. Latifi gets DRS for the first time and nearly passes Stroll, just like that. Stroll, along with Latifi, are both on the medium compound. And I think Barcelona or Catalunya were what? C2, C3, C4? That's right in the middle. Technically there's 5 compounds, but race by race they adjust it. Good opportunity for an overtake here. He's got to the inside. Can he finish the deal? Albon still in no man's land. He's got 13.5 seconds to now Latifi behind, Stroll behind that, and Vettel still has no pit. Vettel on the hard compound. He is the only car on track on the hard compound going long. No wonder he was slow and off the pace. He's the only one trying to make a one-stop work, it looks like. But they're... Actually, I think even the hard was still not a one-stop strategy. Those are lap times compared to his right now. 0.7 of a second faster. So Albon is gaining 0.7 of a second per lap. They'll catch him before too long like that. If Latifi's going to have any chance of actually beating Stroll today, he's got to get out of DRS range and pull away from him. So we're going to try to do so now. If he makes another mistake, it's just another Latifi. Pulling a Latifi. We almost got him. Almost. We got over 9/10, pushing there through Sector 2.
To have been a lockup.
Verstappen with the lockup.
Here's the replay. Now here we see Max Verstappen.
And that's with Leclerc hot on his heels.
That could have been much worse.
Vettel has just pitted.
Vettel into the pits. There you go. He is definitely still in for a 2-stopper now. He's already behind Albon. Will he be behind Latifi as well? Stroll, we cannot quite get away, and Vettel is ahead. And here comes the Ferrari. Could this be an opportunity for us for Latifi to get what we were looking for? If he backs out of the way of blue flags, if Latifi actually plays it right, which has not gone well for us in, well, literally at any point yet this season. But the Aston Martin is now quite a ways behind. If we push on a little bit longer, we might find ourselves, after the Ferrari goes around, more than a second ahead. Two and a half seconds. And here comes that Ferrari. Just don't lose a ton of time letting him get by. Don't lose a ton of time letting him get by. Here you go. That does not look like the ideal place. So we pull over, and we're right at the beginning of the straight. We're going to lose a ton of pace. And here comes the Red Bull as well. Are we going to let the Red Bulls go by? We are. Which is letting the Aston Martin come right back in, right? 1.6, 1.4. Come on, Latifi. Do something right for a change. 1.3. We have the gap. Verstappen, after his mistake, is only 2 seconds behind Leclerc. Right, so it's lap 32. Vettel is 10.5 seconds behind Albon. Latifi just 4.5 seconds back of Vettel. He might still have a chance to catch Vettel in this race. But those 3 mistakes that he made back to back to back were so costly. He lost about 20 seconds through all of that. Meanwhile, we've caught Stroll, we passed Stroll, and then for once, with a little help from blue flags, we were able to get out of DRS range by pushing where Stroll backed off for a little bit, and it got us out to a 1.5 seconds. Right now, it's outside of DRS range. That's all it is. It looks to be slowly extending, where Latifi is a couple tenths a lap faster.
Let's take
And
a look
we have
at
a
the
crash
replay.
here between a McLaren and a Haas. It's
involved
Ricardo. Oh, takes the wing right off. They both go off the track.
That's
Do
the
they
contact
continue on
there.
from there, though?
Oh, there's
Ricardo
chaos
picks
on
up
the
a
track.
penalty. How so? How so? He's completely past the car. And they don't get out of the way? Unlucky there. Albon just 10 seconds behind. That penalty with Ricardo could be fairly costly. And we'll see if, I'm assuming the Haas is going to have to pit and replace the wing. This could play into Albon's favor. Keep an eye on how things shape up here. Latifi, 2.5 seconds behind Vettel, so we've slowly gained on him. And Stroll, now out to 3.5 seconds, and it's Schumacher, who lost his front wing, and he does head into the pits. We ride on board with Albon. Albon already coming into the final chicane just before the end of the lap. One more turn to go. There is the pit entry on our right-hand side. We come around the final turn here and onto the front straight. See the start-finish line here momentarily, and Schumacher is still in the pits. Ricardo has not entered the pits. He is only carrying the penalty. Assuming that that is a 5-second penalty, that means we're probably too far back unless he has some sort of damage. But Schumacher, still in the pits, has not come out. That means we're going to have a pretty healthy gap over him. Vettel, he's 11 seconds back. That's not much with 30 laps to go. He only needs to gain 1/3 second per lap to beat us before the end of this thing. So I'm not sure if we're going to have that kind of pace, because I'm guessing he's about 1/2 second per lap faster. And with a fresh wing, he should be just fine. He's also already got fresh tires, depending on how they manage that, though. We may not hang on to 15th here. I think Schumacher's still going to have enough to beat us, but maybe not. You never know. Schumacher is definitely does not have the pace that Magnussen generally has. You can see how Schumacher's already gained about 1/2 second in one lap. In fact, he's already turned that with the straightaway and a little DRS train. He's already turned that into more than a second gained. So yes, I think Schumacher will be catching and passing Albon well before the end of this race. No issues cooling the brakes, it's just the tires, and they're only in and out of that overheating range. We are getting them cooled down just about enough. You can see now we are in the happy zone. It's just once we then start turning it in again, putting those G's into those tires, they pick up that heat real quick, especially once we apply the brake force and the heat coming out of the brakes overheats them. It's not bad. It's pretty minor. But I think we will continue a little bit longer, maybe another lap or so, before we turn up the aggressiveness on the pace again, because we really don't want to be losing too much time here. But Schumacher now within 9 seconds, 25 laps to go. It's inevitable. He's coming. Oh, Latifi with a lockup. Haven't seen that one before.
Is that a lockup? Let's see what happened there. Now we see
His
the
fourth
Williams
of the day.
here. It's a lockup, and that could be costly.
Because there goes the Aston Martin. Right on board with Latifi as he goes to make his final stop of the day. He is behind. He's doing this one lap ahead of Albon, but Albon is more than half a lap ahead of Latifi at this point. Whatever we gained on Stroll, we're about to lose, as Stroll has already made his pit 2 or 3 laps ago. So one of the only things I'm counting on here is the fact that we are going to be on fresher tires to the end, both drivers going to the soft compound. So Latifi comes out in last place. I do believe that was Stroll who just went on by, but after that 4th mistake of the day, Latifi was pretty far back. Just 3 seconds though. It's not that bad. He's still got a chance, as Albon now heads to pit road. Latifi out in plenty of time, that's why I didn't mind the double stack this time. And here we go. Not the only ones heading down pit road, as it looks like, is that a Mercedes? Yes, Russell heads into the pits. Where will we come out? Latifi comes out 2.5 seconds behind Stroll. Well, it was 3. 2.76. Not a bad stop. Not as good as the last one, but still good. No mistakes. Okay, drop that to aggressive.
Okay, back off. Copy.
Latifi does have plenty of fuel to burn at some point, and I think that'll be good for overtaking yet again Stroll at some point. Albon comes out behind Vettel, less than a second back. Now Vettel, meanwhile, is on mediums at 63%. Everybody else is on the soft compound, and I don't see anybody who looks like, well, Schumacher. Schumacher may have to pit again. 13 laps to go, as he and Ricciardo, collided, and he had to go replace his wing. Ricciardo waited on his, as we have already caught Vettel, and Vettel on a very, very different strategy here. Not only is he on medium where we're on the soft, but he is on used medium, so I'm not sure he's going to make it to the end of the race on this one. I think it's a late soft strategy if his mimics what our options were. In fact, did he just head into the pit? He does. Vettel dives into the pits as we continue to push on. We are going to need to back off here, though. Probably it's about that time. We've already been out there for a full lap in attack mode, so we drop to aggressive. But with Vettel, he's going to be a full pit stop behind us now to the end, so we should have no problems holding off the Aston Martins today. This will be cruise mode to the end of the race because, well, we are a little bit too far back. Ricciardo, even after his 5-second penalty served in the pits, is still 10 seconds ahead of us. We were about 12 seconds back earlier. He pulled away by 3 seconds. We gained 5 through that penalty, and yeah, we're just out of reach. Same with Schumacher and Magnussen. Now, the only thing, though, is if Schumacher does pit. If Schumacher does not make it the race distance, keeping an eye on his distance is going to be the last thing we have to race for, and we could see ourselves potentially in 15th today. Now, as for the gap, you're looking at, Schumacher to Ricciardo is about 10 seconds, and then to us is about 10 seconds. So we're about 20 seconds behind Schumacher. And what do you lose on a pit stop in Catalunya? Well, it's about 22 and a half seconds. We're about 20 and a half seconds behind. So right now, if Schumacher pits, he would be 2 seconds behind us on fresh tires. So for him, it would be smart, if he's going to pit soon. If he stays on those tires, we might actually close him down a little bit, as we're on fresh tires right now, and he's very much on used. Was it used mediums? No, it's used softs, 61%. So he's going to start to lose some pace. He's going to slow down. If he waits till the last couple laps to pit, we might beat him. Not looking likely, though. Stroll and Latifi just got lapped for a second time. Latifi absolutely has his millionth opportunity to beat Stroll, so that's still a thing as we are inside those final 10 laps. brief yellow flag there in Sector 3 as somebody
Looks like
had
there's
an
been a
issue.
lockup.
It's Stroll with the lockup. Stroll with the lockup, and we have, I would presume, have gone by. Where are we at? Yes, Latifi is now ahead of Stroll. Oh, Latifi. Latifi locks up again.
They've
His
locked up and
fifth
gone straight off.
mistake of the race. He gives it right back to Stroll again. He knows he's about to get fired apparently. And we're back ahead of Stroll, and I saw another yellow. I think
there's
Stroll
been a lockup.
has made another mistake, and yes, he has. These two alternating as many mistakes as possible. And meanwhile, Vettel 2 laps down, well behind Albon. What is their gap like now? We are 34 seconds ahead of Vettel. Last lap. We are entering the last lap here. Did not see that we were that quickly to it. Verstappen leads comfortably. Leclerc and Sainz both in podium positions. Perez very close to Sainz, trying to get that last spot on the podium. In no man's land is Hamilton and Alonso. Russell couple seconds back from there. You have Gasly in no man's land. Bottas with Norris hot on his heels. And then Ocon a couple seconds back. Schumacher still holding off Guan Yu Zhou and Magnussen. Did not pit. What are his tires like as we go into this final lap? He's down to 32%, but it looks like he will make it work. But can he hold them off here at the end of this race?
Full deploy.
Latifi, 4-second advantage over Stroll. If he hangs on, it'll be one of his better finishes of the year, P18. And it bumps Stroll down to P19, which is important, but most importantly is the fact that we are ahead of the Aston Martins once again today.
This will be the last lap coming up.
We got a yellow flag. Somebody's had a overtake failed. Albon. Oh, trying to
Max
overtake.
Verstappen over the
Trying
finish
to
line,
overtake an Alpine
and
who's a
today's
lap ahead of
winner.
us. Probably Alonso. Ocon's already finished his race, so that's Alonso that we're trying to race with. That makes me happy.
So what DRS?
We've got him to the inside, but he's going to stay strong around the outside. He's got better grip than we have, and he pulls away. Still impressed by Albon's effort here at the end. Can we get him on the final turn?
Push.
No, too far back.
Yes, okay.
Too far back. We won't get him. That's why too. We let Russell go by right at the end. One more adherence of the blue flag.
What
All
a
right, folks,
pleasure it
it's
was to
another
watch Alex Albon on
successful
the track,
day.
and an amazing.
Another successful day beating the Aston Martins in that head-to-head, and of course that's really all we can do right now until we can get some serious upgrades to the car. But in the meantime, this keeps the board happy, and we keep raising that profile. That means come next season, we're going to have so much more money to work with than we had this season, theoretically, and we'll see if that actually pans out in our favor. But so far, so good through 6 races. I'm the Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.